What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we're gonna start with more Jonnu talk. I don't know what's going on in this story, guys. I don't know what's happening. Adam Schefter, the great Adam Schefter, this morning said, "Hey, trade talks is over. Steelers don't want him. We're moving on." We all said, "Cool. Welcome back to Miami, Jonnu." Then later that same day, the great Adam Schefter was like, "Actually, trade talks back on, and in fact, they're moving closer to a deal." So we don't know what's going on. Usually, if you see Adam Schefter's name, you can you can stamp it, right? He's the most plugged in guy in the industry. We get that. So either trade talks were off, and then one side came back and said, "Okay, I'll give you what you want," or there's a lot of misinformation going out here. But now they're saying trade talks are back on, even though Drew Rosenhaus just yesterday said, Johnny wants to be in Miami. It's his dream team. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. But here we are again. Now, I don't know what that means in terms of a deal being done. I don't know that this is public like leveraging, where the Steelers are saying, "Hey, we do kind of want you." Miami is saying, "We'll lower the price." I don't know what's happening here. I just know there's a lot of nonsense going on. I still don't understand why Pittsburgh would even do this. Like, legitimately, I don't get it. Yes, Jonnu is better than both of the tight ends they have. I don't believe he's so much better that is worth all this commotion. They have a quarterback issue. Fundamentally, they do not have a good quarterback situation. You either have Mason Rudolph or 4,900-year-old Aaron Rodgers off a bad season, off an injury season. I don't get what's happening there, right? I don't know if they're sabotaging Mike Tomlin. I don't know if they're just content with kind of playing the year out and just drafting one of the 7 quarterbacks coming out next year. They do not have a good quarterback room. I don't believe for a second that adding Jonnu back to that room is now going to be, "Oh man, Pittsburgh's offense." I don't know. Watch out for them. No one's saying that. No one feels that way. I've had plenty of Steeler people hit me in the comments because I've been talking about Jonnu to Steelers, and they're like, "I mean, yeah, he's good, but we not like hype. We have a quarterback issue. What are we talking about? Jonnu's not gonna be Julio Jones to like revitalize someone's career. This is not Jamar Chase. This is Jonnu Smith." So I don't know what Pittsburgh is doing. They decided to spend their whole resources and their whole organization on defense, and then they're now, I'm guessing, giving up draft picks, if not also players, to possibly get Jonnu because, again, he's under contract. We're not going to cut him. That's absurd. So they're going to have to give up something outside of just money to get him. I don't get it. I know Miami does not want to get rid of him, but Miami's in a money jam, and if you're saying guys like Noah Fant are making like $10 million a year, I think Jonnu is significantly better than Noah Fant. I also believe that he believes he is significantly better than Noah Fant. So if he's getting 10, I gotta get 12, 13, 14. I think I'm much better than that guy. And if he's asking for basically 2.5, 3 times the money, then I don't know how Miami, in good faith, while they're maybe on the brink of a rebuild, can think we can give him the money. So we're in this weird pocket where we want to keep him. I also think he wants to stay. But I don't think the Steelers cap is some like, where are they getting money from? Are they not paying 80% of the money to their defense and a couple guys on the whole? Like where is CJ Watt not up for an extension? I don't know what's happening here. But keep watching. But it's a lot. It seems like if maybe Pat asked for his way out from Pittsburgh. Maybe Pat's like, "Hey, I don't know what direction we're going quarterback wise. I'm getting a little bit older. I'm not a super high end tight end already. Like I'm not twitchy. I'm not super fast, but I can work better in a better system. Then kind of move me if you can." Because if Pat Firemouth is asking to be traded, then this actually makes sense to me. Because you're replacing Pat Firemouth with a more athletic tight end that can get open perhaps more quickly and can stretch the field more than Pat can. And then if Pat wants to come down to Miami, solid blocker, we just kind of needed body in the middle of the field to throw the ball to. That makes sense if that's what the game was. If Pat Firemouth did not ask to be traded, I don't know what's going on, right? And I think the team is showing you that we definitely want to keep him. In fact, Coach McDaniel, for the first time, actually spoke out about it because he's got to be getting bombarded with questions like, hey, what is going on with this Jonnu situation, right? So finally, Coach stepped up and had something to say. He said, I haven't considered anything other than that I want Jonnu on the team. I think he wants to be here. And so my experience with business is that you let that play out. And that time, Jonnu is depending on me to focus on the players that I have the ability to coach and influence. That's coach speak, but he did say the main thing. I want him to stay. And that's good. Like if the coach was saying, I don't know, man, maybe John needs to be out, that's different. He wants him to stay, we want him to stay. I'm gonna keep following the story because I'm almost guaranteeing tomorrow Schefter is like, hey, talks broke off again. And we're like, oh dang. And then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? They back. Like this is a yo-yo relationship that I'm not comfortable with. But let's stay tuned. Now, I'm a big Jaylen Waddle fan. I've mentioned on the show before. I know we have a lot of new subscribers, so you guys may not have seen all the past episodes. Jaylen Waddle, the year he came out of Alabama, was my number one receiver. He got hurt, but before he got hurt, just the way he played, super explosive. Just any play on the field, a slant, like a hitch, can like be a house call. I love the way he played. Yes, he played with a bunch of other 5-star top receivers, all of which went to the pros. But the way Jaylen plays to me, or what he played, was so explosive and so high end that I was like, yo, if he comes to Miami and brings that speed, we got something special. And he's shown a couple of years that he has all that intangible. I still don't think he's even come close to living up to his potential. I think Jaylen Waddle can be legit a 1,500 yard plus receiver, 10 to 12 touchdown guy. I think that's his ceiling. And last year, easily his worst year, like in the last few for sure, but maybe it's like just total. It wasn't great in yards per catch. Just wasn't great in overall production. Also, kind of got the droppies a couple times. And if you know how receivers work, you start dropping passes, it gets up here. It gets up in your head. And then you start kind of like pulling your hands back more. You maybe like reach out further. Like it throws off. You're not catching naturally. You're not receiving the ball. You're almost trying to like punch the ball. It gets a little dicey. And especially because he's not a big guy. He had a bunch of injuries last year, lingering injuries. Like he played a lot of games at 60 to 70%. You just saw him. Wasn't as explosive. Didn't want to dip his shoulder to make any contact. Just wasn't the same guy he was supposed to be. My full expectation is that Tyreek is either going to take a slow step back to become the number two or will not be on his team going forward, which means Jaylen Waddle will assume the responsibility of being number one receiver. Again, I think he can be that. Maybe a middle of the pack number one receiver. He's not going to be Jamar and Justin and AJ Brown, those level guys. Those are, to me, those are like how they have elite quarterbacks and then like go down tiers. That's like elite receiver. CeeDee Lamb could be in that category too. And then you start going to the next tier. Could he be like a Brian Thomas type? Sure. I think Brian Thomas is number one for Jacksonville. I think Jaylen can really be bubble Pro Bowler. I think he can be like the Amon-Ra St. Brown type player for Miami. But he's got to live up to it. There's plenty of opportunities. Like we send him down the field all the time. He's got to make the catches and maybe start making some contested catches, which has never really been part of his game. He really is like, get the ball in my hand, let me take off, or I'm running past people over the shoulder. But he's not tall, which is, kind of a detriment to doing catch and jump balls. But I don't think he has hops though. Like he can go up and high point the ball. We haven't really put him in position to do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Coach McDaniel really expanding his role because the idea is that he's already under contract past next year. He's, draft guy, so we love him because he's homegrown. We think he can be a number one, which is why we drafted him in the top 10. Let's start really pushing him toward being that top 10 guy. Let's stop like handcuffing him and like he should be getting 10 targets a game easy. Like maybe Tyreek's getting 12, 13. He's getting 10, and then you spreading the other 7 to 10 out amongst the rest of the receivers. Like he's that good and that explosive where a 5-yard route can become a 70-yard house call. He's got to get fed. And I don't know if he's like demonstrative enough to be like, yo, give me the ball. Let me be the one. Hey, get Jaylen the ball. Let me get loud because I think if we do that, then he could do something really special. Future matchup. So this matchup is kind of like the Saints matchup where I expect us to win. I do anticipate a little bit of nonsense happening this week. This is week 7 against Cleveland at Cleveland. Now, this is like a mid to late December game. Probably going to be a little chilly. Probably not going to be like 10, 12 degrees, but mid to late, early 40s, yeah, I can see that happening. Here's why I think this is actually an important game. My prediction is that this will be the first game that Shador starts. That's my prediction. Week 7 at home against Miami will be the first week that Shador starts. I think the first couple weeks they do some version of Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco. I actually think Pickett's gonna get traded. That's not that important. But I think Joe Flacco starts. I think they're 2-4, 1-5 going into that game. They want to come back home because they want him in front of the home crowd. Miami's defense, on paper, not super elite. Definitely not starting them against Baltimore. Not starting them against Pittsburgh. Miami, yeah, hot weather team. Defense low on the rocks. Perfect team to get them in front of. Here's why maybe wild for Miami. The media is going to go crazy for Shador's first game. Whenever he does start. It may not be this week 7, but I think it will be. Whenever he starts, that's going to be the game all week. We can have Chiefs against Buffalo in Arrowhead. Hey, the day that Shador is starting, mark my words, that will be the most important game. It will be the most bet on game. It will be the most talked about game. Other teams in the league will be talking about it. And Miami has never been particularly great at dealing with distractions. We're going into the game. You know you want to win. You don't want to be the first loss in his. You don't want to be that. You don't want to go in there and lose to a rookie in his first game. You don't want him walking up the field, signing jerseys, smiling, doing this. You don't want any part of that. There will be a lot of undue pressure, but then couple that with the fact that Cleveland on defense has always been good. Myles Garrett is arguably the best defender in the league. I think you can make an easy argument for that. They get a few guys back on defense. They should always be good on defense, and their offense is always competent because they have a great coach. So even though Miami might be favored on the road, it should never be a cakewalk game. Cleveland will play hard, and if Shador is playing, the energy in a stadium is going to be crazy. The defense is going to be playing with their head on fire. It's going to be a lot. The atmosphere is going to feel like college. It may feel like Coach Prime is out there. Give my theme music. It may feel like that. I think it's going to be a lot. And if that is the case, this is a game you got to keep your head up for because it's not about the team on the field. It's about everything else around it. So that's my prediction that week 7 we'll see Shador for the first time. We'll see. He might start the season, then this is a null and void. But that's what I think is going to happen. So this is not a hard matchup in terms of personnel. But with the cameras and lights in action, could be something special. But that will be it for today's episode of Dolphins Daily. Thank you for tuning in. Thank y'all for crushing it with the likes and subscribes, man. Y'all have really been supporting us. Channel is growing really fast. We really appreciate that. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.